just happened?
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Hopefully, everybody's having a wonderful evening. Thank you for tuning in. We are here with the one, the only Mr. Mark Hernandez. Now, before I bring him to the show, as you can see on the screen, this live stream is powered by Encamp. For those that don't know who Encamp is, they are a software that you can, and a platform where you can turn in your tier twos. They are also helping the EHS profession, but I'll go ahead and just let you listen in, and then we'll jump right into it.
Encamp is changing the way EHS professionals stay in compliance. Tired of spreadsheets to manage spreadsheets? That's where Encamp comes in. Their digital compliance solution allows you to manage your entire team's EHS documents, deadlines, permits, and tasks, all from one modern platform, with no software knowledge needed. Learn more about how Encamp can save you and your team valuable time and money at encamp.com/X Factor.
Well, there you go. There you go. So little ad right there from our sponsors at Encamp. So without further ado, let me bring our VIP guest, Mr. Mark Hernandez.
Hey, how you doing,
Mark.
Pedro?
Hey, how you doing, Mark?
Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to come and share and talk about the Hispanic heroes celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month.
No, not a problem. And thank you. It's an honor, you blessing us with, your presence. And actually, again, it being Hispanic Heritage Month, it goes a long way, for another person to get on here other than myself. Yes, everybody loves watching me, talking to me. But again, we want to give them a little piece of you. So Hispanic heroes, we'll dive into it. I know you have a presentation and, you want to kind of interact and intertwine that. So we'll jump right into it, and I'll let you have the floor, and I'll go ahead and there you go. I'll fall back. You let me, and this is your show, Mark.
Awesome. So again, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about Hispanic heroes. It's a very important topic to me, very passionate topic for me. But the just want to make sure we got the right screen, brother.
Yeah, no, I see it up there. Everything's there. If you
or can you want to go ahead and share it on your side? It's not popping up on mine.
Yeah, let me see. Let me pull it up. A little technical difficulties right here.
So one of the things while you're prepping everything, one of the things that I did is this is the first time I'm actually done interviews. I've interviewed several people, and the reason for that is one, to highlight Hispanic heroes, but to celebrate individuals who've done an amazing contribution as Hispanics to the U.S. In different industries and different sectors. And so I challenged myself to do that, but I've interviewed a couple people here in the last couple of days, and it's been amazing. I've interviewed a CEO, a dear friend, Ricio Medina. You'll see him on the slide here in a minute. And one individual who actually coined the phrase Hispanic way back, Grace Flores Hughes. And so it was a blessing for me to not only interview them, but hear their story, their experience, their challenges, their successes. And as a Hispanic, what helped them along the way? What did they learn along the way? And what can we learn from them? And so it was very, stepping back now and sharing the interview platform with you. It's going to be powerful for me to be able to do that, having learned from them, but then also sharing my experiences, my story with everybody else.
No, and that's awesome. And again, we love that about here and this platform, that we are able to bring so much to the Hispanic community and to give them a platform to be able to express those types of things.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things too is, Hispanics are in just basically every sector, every industry. And so one of the things is, we're in every area, basically every industry, but it's really important for us to realize the contributions that the Hispanics have given to the United States and to the world, basically. And so what I wanted to do was share that through the interviews and share that through my experiences so that we honor them, we honor their stories, we honor their struggles, we honor their successes, and we build off that. We're close to, I think the Hispanic Pew put us at close to 61 million in the United States. There's a lot of us. That means that 1 in 6 people are going to be Hispanic. So guess what? If you don't know Spanish, you better learn. One person told me the other day, why do I need to learn Spanish? Well, brother, you know what? When you die and go to heaven, you're going to be speaking Spanish. So you better learn now. So you better learn now.
No, and again, it's always good. And, before we go in, like to pop in Jonathan, hello, everyone. Hey, Jonathan, thank you for blessing us with your presence. So let me see if I get this screen right. And let's see, application window. Here we go. Bam, there it is.
Awesome.
So I will control it on this side. You just tell me where to go, and I got you.
Awesome. So if you can, go ahead and go to the next slide. And if you could expand it out just a little bit.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and
there we go.
That right
awesome.
There.
Awesome. So this slide kind of tells us a little bit about what we were talking about earlier. There's 1 in 6 Hispanics by 2021 is going to be Hispanic. This tells you 16.5% in 2019 is Hispanic. But one of the other things is the Latino buying power. So the projected buying power by 2020 is going to be close to $1.7 trillion. That's a lot of tacos.
Yeah, for those of us that like tacos, I like that.
So that'll buy you a bunch of tacos, a lot of beans, a lot of rice, a lot of meat. But
what if I'm vegetarian? I don't mean to interrupt you, but what if I'm vegetarian?
Well, you're gonna have to learn to eat some tacos, bro. We have corn. We have corn tortillas for you. But on the other side of that, the Latinos account for close to 80% of the workforce. And having worked for OSHA for over 12 years, I know that we're in every sector, everything from construction, residential, poultry, plant, maritime, shipyard. I mean, you name it, we've been there. We're in there. As a matter of fact, if you go to a Chinese restaurant, they may have a Chinese name on the front, but you go in the back, it's Hispanics cooking. We're everywhere. And what does that mean? It means that throughout the fabric of just about every industry, every area, there's some contributions that have been laid, not only by Hispanics, but a lot of immigrants. And here we're talking about Hispanics, but one of the things that's really important for us to realize, man, that buying power, man, $1.7 trillion. Imagine that for just a second. $1.7 trillion goes through the hands of Hispanics that are working, that not only feed us, but help propel the GDP of the United States.
Yes.
That's huge. That is amazing. Not only amazing buyer power, but it continually helps support the economy, the flow of commerce, the flow of businesses, the flow of everything that helps sustain the United States. Right? Even right now, who's sustaining us? Small business. So it's that small business owner that wakes up every single day, that men and women that wake up every day, perform their work in such a way that brings value to the United States. And so it's very important for us to realize that. It's very important for us to recognize that. And it's very important to support them when we see them and to say thank you for that. Go ahead, go to the next slide.
Got you. There we go. So now, before we go on, I'm sorry, Mark, before we go on, we got some comments that coming in. Matt Lawrence, he said, hey, y'all, thank you for joining us, Matt. And
thank you, Matt.
He said, I do need to learn Spanish.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, I tell people all the time in a presentation, I say, I'm trilingual, trying to think, hey, I'm not bilingual, I'm trilingual. I'm pretty smart. And as a matter of fact, I'm even smarter because I'm trilingual. That means I know English, Spanish, and Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. English, be careful. Spanish, ten cuidado. And Tex-Mex is guáchale. So Matthew, if you put an L-E at the end, you're good, brother. You're good. Guáchale.
There you go.
So Latino legends, one of the things I've been blessed to have the opportunity to meet a lot of Latino legends. I mean, Dr. Antonia Sobello, who was the one of the Surgeon Generals, Dr. Ellen Ochoa, who was the first female Latina in space. She was also the flight director for NASA here at Johnson Space Center. And then my old boss, which was Secretary Hilda Solis, actually that photo I took when we were in Dallas during her birthday. They had a huge celebration outside, and she was walking among us, and I called her out to the side, and we were talking and asked if she could take a picture. She was very gracious. She took a picture. And then during the first, so one interesting thing about Hilda Solis. So when a Hispanic influencer gets in a position of authority or a position of influence, they have the ability not only to recognize the need of a Hispanic, but have the ability to move in the need of Hispanic. What do I mean? When Hilda Solis became the Secretary of Labor, it was the first time in history that Hispanics were highlighted in every agency of Department of Labor. When I say every, I mean every. Wage and Hour, OSHA, OVCCP, all agencies focused on, targeting, not only targeting, but I say targeting, emphasizing on Hispanics in terms of outreach, in terms of support, in terms of how can we reach them, how can we elevate them, how can we help them bridge those gaps that they currently have.
Right.
And so Dolores Huerta, one of the things, Miss Solis back the first National Hispanic Safety Summit was in Houston. Again, when a Hispanic gets into position of authority of influence, they not only recognize the needs, they can meet the needs, which is important. So what did she do? She created the first Latino summit in Houston. There was a lot of people that came. Guess who was one of the speakers? Dolores Huerta. And so when I saw her, Cesar Chavez, you've heard of, many of you have heard of Cesar Chavez. Well, she was a co-founder of United Farm Workers Union. Yeah. And so when I saw her, I was like a little kid, man, at the candy store. I ran across. I said, Dolores Hilda, I started hugging her, and can you take her back? I mean, she's a legend. She's a legend. And then I was invited to a DOL, an event at University of Houston, and I met Jose Hernandez. For those who have never heard of or ever heard Jose Hernandez speak, you need to. As a matter of fact, if you haven't heard him, you need to Google him. His story is powerful. Now, an immigrant, migrant worker, Mexican migrant worker, they traveled all over the U.S. to helping his father in the fields. But what was very powerful about his story is that somebody saw him and said, "Hey, Jose, you're pretty good at math. Why don't you go to school?" The father over here on the other side is trying to get him to work. See, it's hard to be pulled in a direction which we're not used to. But when the teacher saw that, she said, "Hey, there's something here. There's something with this guy." Talked to the father. Long story short, the father allowed him to go to school, and he decided he wanted to be an engineer. He became an engineer, worked for NASA, and then he told himself, "I am going to be an astronaut." Took him 12 years, man.
Wow.
Took him 12 years. Again, now we're talking about perseverance. One of the key traits for a Hispanic, perseverance. They persevere. They can continue going. Con ganas. They say, échale ganas. Well, that's perseverance. Meaning that Jose Hernandez never quit because he understood it's not about Jose Hernandez. It's about the people that come behind Jose Hernandez that can read the books one day and say, "Hey, there's a Hispanic. He's an astronaut. If he can do it, I can do it." And so Jose Hernandez, he spoke, and it was a powerful story. I was moved by it. I went over there. I talked to again, 2 civil service employees, Hispanic. I just felt compelled to go and I call him Tocayo now. We're connected on LinkedIn and everything. I call him Tocayo Hernandez. And so so that's one of the things too, is if I could have been sitting in the crowd, but not connect with his story, nor where he's going. And I could have said, you know what, he's doing it, whatever. But I couldn't. I felt very compelled to go and talk to him, and it was, and, long story short, we've been friends since then. He's done some great things. He speaks on STEM a lot. He continues to speak to youth, to help them. Why? Because years ago, somebody saw him, and it was through education, opened the door, became when he became an astronaut, they can't take that from you. When Dr. Surveyor became the Surgeon General, nobody can take that from her. When Dr. Ochoa became the first woman in space, nobody can take that from her. When Hilda Solis became the first female secretary, nobody can take that from her. When Dolores Huerta became the co-founder, nobody can take that from her. Mm-hmm. Nobody can take that from them. They can say, well, you're Hispanic, you kind of talk funny, you kind of look funny, you kind of, hey, bro, we're making it happen though.
Yeah, no, and great presentation on all these, Latino legends, and the accolades that go, not, and again, it's not for them, it's for like you said, the people that follow behind them, the youth, not even myself. It's the ones that are coming behind me, my daughters, and then eventually my granddaughters, following that and knowing that is attainable and achievable. You can reach those successes with perseverance and, obviously trial and tribulation, but again, the perseverance to continue. Yeah,
it's powerful you mentioned that, because my niece, who's now a BSN, I had the opportunity to when I was talking with Dr. Ochoa, I got 5 minutes. They said, Mark, you got 5 minutes. I said, okay, what about it? I'm going to give her a book. I already had 3 questions, bro. You only got 5 minutes. She was gracious enough to sign 2. I made them out to 2 of my nieces. And we talked the other day. She says she still looks at that as inspiration, because again, you got to understand what is, and I wrote about this in a post here recently. What is the current, the present, but what will be is what you make of it. But if you have a photograph of somebody who created what will be, it gives you hope, it gives you energy, it gives you inspiration. It inspires you to go beyond what you are, because they've already done it. They've actually created a path for you, which is powerful. And then my friend Brixio, if you go to the next slide.
Yeah, before we go on to the next slide, let's get these comments that are coming in. Trey Williams, thank you for putting this on. Trey, thank you again for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. Mallory, hi, Mallory. Glad to be here. Yes, we are glad you're here. Hey, what's up, Shane? What's going on, brother?
Hello, Shane.
Jesus Valencia. Valencia,
Jesus.
I'm sorry.
What's up, Jesus?
Yep. What's going on,
gente.
Jesus?
Mi gente.
Greatly appreciate everybody tuning in to this.
And so we talked about some interviews and winding up with the Hispanic Heritage Month interviews with your podcast, which I'm grateful for. But the first person I interviewed was a CEO of the National Diversity Council, Angeles Vilanciano. She came to the United States at 23. She was already a professional. She already had a degree. She came to the United States to become more. And now she is a CEO of one of the largest nonprofits, the National Diversity Council, which she now gives back. She does an amazing stuff with youth. She does amazing stuff with Latinas. And I told her, man, I need to be a part of that, because it's moving, it's multiplying. And so what's powerful about that is the story of struggle, the story of not only overcoming, but realizing that she said it was the family. It was the family. It was in our family that we learned that, hey, con ganas se hace. With a little bit of perseverance, with a little bit of pride, with a little bit of understanding who we are as Hispanics, you're going to make it happen. And it was powerful to hear her story. It was powerful to hear her contributions, but even more so, it was powerful because at 23, coming to the United States, not speaking English is hard.
Yes.
So let me just step back for a second. I was born in the United States. My wife born in Mexico, a lot of family from Mexico. And those who say English is easy, you haven't gone through the process of learning English. It's very difficult for individuals who, 12, 13, 14, but even 23 come to the United States having to learn. And then the cultures are different, very difficult, but she overcame because she understands what is not the point. It's what will be that's important. It's what will be that's important.
Yeah.
My friend Rixio, I don't know if you know Rixio, you need to know him. Those of you who are safety professionals, Hispanic safety professionals that do not know my brother from another mother, Rixio Medina, you need to Google him. Now, I'm just going to share. I mean, when he said that he's a dear friend of mine, he said it on our interview. I was touched. I've known him for many, many years. I invited him to speak at the National Hispanic Summit at DOL when they had it. But let me just share a little bit about Rixio. He's from Venezuela. He came to the United States. He's a professional. He's one of the first Hispanics to get a bachelor's, one of the first Hispanics to be a vice president of EHS&S of Londale Sitco. He was the first Hispanic BCSP president, the first Hispanic president of the ASSP, and he was on the Chemical Safety Board.
Yeah,
dude, and he was so humble on the call. I've known Rixio for a long time, but one of the things again that he mentioned was those Hispanic values that just anchored him: family, faith, perseverance. Those things that formed him when he was a young guy with his father, working and doing those things that he needed to do. And then when he came to the United States, he understood the same thing that Dolores Huerta and all these other individuals and Angeles understood. Mm-hmm. That's why he began a grant that is funded now. What it does is helps an individual get a degree, helps him get that degree. So what is he doing? He's giving back. Mm-hmm. Powerful story. And then I had the opportunity. So those of you, let me just throw a test question out there for everybody who's listening. Hispanic, where did the term Hispanic come from? And a bunch of you are already cheating. You're already Googling it. You're already Googling. I know.
Yeah. For those that are watching, participate. Tell us in the chat, where do you think the word Hispanic came from? Where did it originate? Where did it come from?
So I'm going to go ahead and tell you the background story while you guys Googling it. So Dolores Flores Huerta, Hughes, excuse me. She was a civil service employee, born in the United States. One of the things of her story is, as a Mexican American growing up in the United States, the segregation, when I mean segregation, I'm talking about the Mexican American, the lack of respect, the lack of belonging to the group, belonging to the school, belonging to a group of individuals, belonging to a group of friends. Mm-hmm. She encountered that a lot. And for me, it was interesting because you would think, on the other hand, on the flip side, it was from an immigrant side that, having been born in Mexico, that stream, but she was born in the United States and she got it as a Mexican American. And so one of the things, again, that she went to school, got her bachelor's, again, that family, the working hard, work ethic, doing right, faith, those contributions that were instilled to her as a single. She was the youngest, of five. Her mom was working hard, doing 3 jobs. Okay, so think about this. You're sitting back 6 years old. Your mom, you're seeing your mom go and do all this stuff because she's like, she's got to do this stuff. And what does that do to you? And I asked her, how does that move you? And she said, Well, it taught me, hey, I got to move. I got to work. I got to be good. So throughout her entire career, she moved. She's got to work. She's got to be good. And she rose. She got her bachelor's. She told herself that's not good enough. She got her master's. And she went to work at the Pentagon, which was crazy. Then the census came and said, hey, how do we count these people, the Hispanics? Because again, if you put them in a box, they're not Cuban. They're not Puerto Rican. And Puerto Ricans get mad if they call them, anything else but Puerto Rican. But you try to box everybody in one thing. And so they created this ad hoc committee, which she was a part of, Mexican American, that had a voice, which was very important. Why? Because when you're not going back to like Miss Hilda Solis, as an individual of influence who has a voice, now you're a part of something that creates sustainable change. She understood that. Now, they came apart where they didn't understand some of these things and they didn't come in agreement with some of the terms. And she said, no, we got to continue on. We have to continue on, and we got to get to a consensus on the terms. So they got a consensus, and you know what they came up with? It's Hispanic. Hispanic.
Wow.
It's
not
an ethnicity. It's a term in which we can group all Hispanic surnames under one box. Now, some people say Latino, well, the thing is, we're all derived by either Spanish. There's a lot of different nationalities that can be derived from that, but to easily term and group us from a census perspective, so when you're doing your census, if you haven't done it, I'm just going to give a plug. If you haven't done it, go and do it. That's how we get our money in the city. That's how we get our money for roads and hospitals and all that stuff, because individuals like her said, hey, again, I keep going back to this. It's not what is, it's what will be one day. See, she had the foresight to say, hey, this is going to be a powerful, impactful for individuals living in the barrio that needs a school, that needs a hospital, that needs services, that needs to be counted. And we need to count them now, because if we discount them now, they won't be counted then. Right. And so it was
Here's some of the answers. Some of the answers. I didn't mean to cut you off there. Some of the answers that people come up with. Hispaniola.
Okay,
oh, man, Matt.
Okay, Matthew, you get 5 points, and you should. I would have given extra credit if you put an LE at the end, bro. I would have gave you extra credit.
Shane said from Spain. I'm guessing
from Spain. Okay.
Yeah. Jesus, a country that speaks Spanish.
Close.
Good one. Yeah. And then Shane also came back and said, Grandma always told me to claim Hispanic on everything I sign.
That's right, man. That's right.
And I have one that Mallory had. Mallory, I'm guessing religion is tied closely to his Spanish of origin based on Latin breakdown.
Okay, Mallory. Okay, Mallory. Now, okay. Put Mallory's back on there real quick, because Mallory, you're very close. As a matter of fact, that type of discussion was discussed at the ad hoc meeting, because see, when you begin to break down different surnames and groups from Latin America, from Spain, from Europe, there's Chinese that have Hispanic surnames. There's Filipinos that have Hispanic surnames. So again, you're spot on, Mallory, that what they try to do is not put us in a box, so to speak, but to allow us to be counted. Yeah. And so there's a lot of discussion to say, no, we're this, and no, we're Latin. No, hey, I understand all that, but at the end of the day, it's for us to be counted, so we do have a voice and we do have a say.
And then there's another one from before we move on. Mallory said, fear is a wall. Fear is a wall. It is a fence. While we may not be able to knock down a wall or a fence, there are ways to get to the other side. Before we can get to the other side, we have to acknowledge its existence. Great.
Mallory, you go, girl.
Go. Yes.
Go, girl.
Thank you for that. And then she, Philip, he said, fuerzas a ustedes, arriba y adelante. Thank you, Philip Rizzo.
Or how the Puerto Ricans say pa'lante, pa'lante, pa'lante. They don't even, they chop it, pa'lante.
Yeah.
All right, next slide, brother. Mallory,
one more. Yeah, Mallory, she's in it. In my experience, most of my Hispanic friends are incredibly passionate about their religion, morals, and relationships. They have all voiced a generational fear of sharing their passion. I believe that alone and holding them back. That is holding them back. We need to be proud of where we come from, but we also need to be ready to share it back with the same passion. That is correct.
That's a perfect segue, Mallory. Thank you for that, because when I interviewed Grace Flores Hughes, she has a book. In her book, she has this phrase, "Don't hold the salsa." And I was like, okay, tell me more, because me tienes picado. You got me hooked. Mm-hmm. Okay. And she says, don't hold the salsa means this: as a Hispanic, you will not hold the salsa. Why? Because salsa is who we are. You're going to either eat with the chile or you're going to put salsa on it. And what she's saying there, going back to what Mallory was saying, if you pass the salsa, you're passing who you are. You're passing what your contribution is. You're passing what you're going to bring to the table. So don't ever pass the salsa. As hot as it is, don't pass the salsa. So now we're moving on to, this is my familia. So one of the key traits of a Hispanic, like as Mallory mentioned, is familia. That's my beautiful family there, my beautiful wife, my 3 knights. I call them knights. The one in the front right there is Jonathan. One in the back right there, he's almost as tall as I am, Jonathan, or Michael. I call him Big Mike. And then my daughter-in-law, Erica, and then my son, my oldest son right there is Mark Jr. So familia. Why is familia so important to Hispanic? Familia is where we derive our strength. Familia is where we derive our traits. Familia is where we derive our passions. Familia is where we derive who we are, what we work for, who we fight for, and what we're here for. That's what familia represents to a Hispanic. So you see the individual waking up in the morning, going to work, giving 8, 10, 12, 14 hours a day for who? For familia. For familia. Why will they sometimes risk themselves for familia? Because I am second, familia is first. Some individuals look on the outside and say, that's crazy. That's not crazy. That's who we are. What we need to do is, as even as safety professionals, is help bridge that gap to help them recognize you are valuable. Yeah. Your familia is valuable, but so are you. Let me help you understand that value. And see, that's the bridge that we can create, because they already recognize familia is a value. Let's help them recognize they as an individual are a value. And that's a win-win contribution, but that's a touchdown.
Yes, it is. And just to touch on that right there, being from, safety professionals, if you're able to bridge that gap, yes, everybody has a why. And speaking on the Hispanic heritage, familia, family is a big why. Why do we get up? To provide for our family. But then, like you said, Mark, to bridge that gap and understand the men and women that are going out to provide for their family, that they are also valued just as much as their familia is.
Yes.
To be able to, show them and guide them and coach and mentor, so that way they have that much more value. They then can pass off to their young ones. They can then pass that down to their familia and bring those values home.
That's right. And so what's very important is don't discount an individual who works hard and may put themselves at risk as an individual who doesn't want to work safe. Understand that their value system is a little different. They put them second. Help them understand who they are as an individual. Help them recognize that they are valuable. I need you to work safe. I need you to, because your contribution matters.
Yeah.
Let me share this and we'll move on. I had the opportunity to work with the Hispanic consulates, and one day we were doing an open house there, and different DOL agencies were doing those speeches. And out to the side, I see this individual with chapapote. I knew he was a roofer. Why? He had a bunch of tar all over him. And at the Mexican consulate, you go there, you get some services, and all different type of services. I knew he was there for a particular service. So I saw him on the side, and I approached him, and I extended my name. How you doing, sir? ¿Cómo te llamas? Mi nombre es Mark. ¿Cómo te puedo ayudar? How you doing? My name is Mark. How can I help you? And then I asked him, I said, can I ask you a question, sir? His name is, I'm just going to say Roberto. I asked him, can you please look at your hands, Robert? Because I want to hit on this point right here to help them recognize their value. Soy valioso. I am valuable. Because their family is valuable, but so are they. I asked him, Robert, can you look at your hands? He says, what do you see? He says, dirty hands. And I said, Robert, look at your hands again. What do you see? He says, dirty hands. See, when you only focus on yourself, that's all you see.
Mm-hmm.
When your value system is only you, that's all you see. Now I asked him, Robert, are you a husband? He said, yes. Are you a father? He said, yes. Are you a friend? He said, yes. I said, okay. Then I put my hands in his hand. I said, Robert, what I see is not just a worker or dirty hands. See, all he saw was a dirty worker, dirty hands of a worker. That's all he saw, because that's 8, 10, 12 hours. That's all. But me, I saw a friend. I saw a husband. I saw a co-worker. I saw a dad. And then again, I asked him, Robert, now do you see that? He says, no, I never saw that. I said, what you give work is part of you, not all of you. What you give work is part of you, not all of you. So what you see yourself, recognize that what you are is part of work, not all of you is work.
Yeah.
And so he said, I've never seen it like that before. I am a husband. Yes. I am a father. Yes, I am. See, now value system, you see that what I'm saying? The value system clicks and he says, okay, so now I begin to talk to him about the gloves and that. See, I can't talk to him about the gloves because I need to connect the value system. You follow me?
Yeah, he doesn't trust you. He doesn't know you from Adam, and then you're not able to bring that value and give, and like you said, bridge that gap without it, expressing and showing him that he is valuable. And
because far too often we try to identify what is wrong first, then connect with the person first. And so I just shared that because of what Mallory mentioned and familia, and it's very powerful. But if we can bridge that gap, and if we can help them understand that as a worker, as an individual, they are valuable, their contribution matters, and go and work hard, go and do your best, bring your A game every day because your family needs you. But guess what? We need you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, next slide. Okay, Mallory, you're right on. I think we got to give you 10 points already. 5 points for the
Yep. No, again, just to bring it back.
Yep. The family, the faith. So fe and my hero, faith, and this is my hero. So faith, this is my grandma, my nana. She was born in the United States, but guess what? She did not read, she did not write, and she signed her name with an X. She gave to me, that's me right there. I'm singing with her. She was a woman of faith. I mean, there's not a day that went by that I did not see my grandmother praying. I did not see my grandmother praying for somebody else. She loved to sing. She as an individual who could not read or write, she actually created a bunch of songs herself. And so my hero, I say my hero is her. Some people tell me after I speak, they come up to me and say, hey, Mark, you got a lot of energy. You're very passionate. I say, well, that's not me. You got to understand that came from her. So what I am doing is just like Maya Angelou said, I stand as one, but represent 10,000. I may be standing as one, but I represent her. I represent my aunt. I represent my mom. I represent my wife. I represent all these individuals who have poured into me because fe matters. Faith matters to us. That's who we are. And at the end of the day, it's real important for us to also bridge that, but also celebrate it. Celebrate it, because guess what? My grandmother's no longer with us, but she's still with us. Because every single time I get up on a stage, every single time I talk to somebody, it's like her speaking through me. Because, brother, you got to understand, I was scared to get in front of people, man.
Oh, yeah.
But because I understood there's a bigger audience and there's a bigger purpose, and I found my why, I owe it a lot to her for what she did. Go ahead and go to the next slide.
And Mallory, she said, when we have such a clear understanding of the dynamic within a family, it is as simple as comparing those titles within an organization.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mallory, you're going on like 15, 20 points there, man.
Yeah,
so that's a whole nother presentation.
That's a whole nother presentation.
I and we. I wish we had another time to talk about that, but it's powerful because if we understand, it's not about me, it's about we.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, go to the next slide. So this slide is not to celebrate me. I only did this because I wanted to celebrate my grandmother and my hero. Is that how is it? Check this out. How is it that an individual who was born in the United States, didn't read and write, signed her name with an X, and then her grandson in 2017 co-authors 2 books? How does that happen? Well, it happens because when we realize we're not here for us, we're here for others, we'll do stuff like this. So Pedro, there's a book in you. Mallory, there's a book in you. What were the other guys' names? I can't remember. There's a book in you.
Matthew Lawrence, Shane Oliver.
There's a book in you. You saying there's a book in me? Yeah, there's a book in you. There's a story waiting to be told.
Jesus Valencia.
There's a story in you.
Mm-hmm.
There is. And you say, no, there isn't. I say, yes, there is. You just need to learn to craft it. You just need to learn to tell it. See, when I learned to craft it, I had an amazing teacher, John Maxwell. Taught me how to craft it. In one weekend, brother, I pumped out my 2 books. We drove up to San Antonio, put myself in a room for the whole weekend, and I wrote my segments. Now, again, I don't say that to impress you. I say it to impress upon every single one of us that we're here for a reason. Because we're talking about Hispanics, but we're here for ourselves so we can celebrate everyone by serving others. See, my grandmother served me, and guess what? The book can help somebody else, and it can serve them. So again, you have a story of success, story of failure, story of perseverance, whatever story it is, begin to craft it because we need to hear it. And if you're Hispanic, even more. Dale gas. Start writing it.
Matt Lawrence said, work safely, get home to your family.
That's right, brother.
Thank you.
All right, next slide.
Mm-hmm.
Work ethic. There's not I said this many times, brother. So you go outside and look, man, who's working, brother? Hispanic, bro. We're painting, we're building, we're putting rebar, we're putting concrete, we're building houses, we're putting bridges, we're putting steel, we're welding, we're in the back room, we're even in the Chinese store where it says, Chinese restaurant. We're everywhere. Man, I've been in North Dakota, I've been in shipyard, petrochemical, just about every industry. We're there. We're there giving a contribution to the United States in greater ways than we know how to celebrate. As a matter of fact, the other day, the 2 guys that came out here and the trash sanitary technicians came out. I celebrated and gave them high fives. Why? Because their contribution matters. Their contribution matters.
Yeah.
We have to celebrate each other. Work ethic. Now, for those who don't know, how many of you ever on the call out there live? How many of you ever worked on the scaffold? You work on the scaffold?
Oh yeah, I have. I could
Matthew,
say I have.
all those guys. If you ever worked on the scaffold, now if you haven't, God bless you. If you never worked as a scaffold builder, God bless you double. Why? It's hard work.
Mhm.
It's one of the first jobs I got when I got out the Navy. Now, Don Oliver, work ethic. Now, what's powerful about this is that we so the story of Don Oliver, there's a term called maestros in the Hispanic community. Maestro is an individual who has knowledge, training, experience, and influence, which is key. So Don Oliver, one day he saw me. I was a very young scaffold builder. He came beside me. He taught me the trade, and then during lunch, he said a couple powerful things to me. He again, us Hispanics, what do we do at lunch? We put everything in the middle and we share, don't we? We put everything in the middle and we share.
Yeah.
So Pedro, you're beside me, Mallory's over there. We're all at the table, but we have everything in the middle. And then Don Albert asked me in Spanish, ¿Qué estás haciendo aquí? What are you doing here? And I said, we're having lunch. Pass the salsa. The question went over my head. He asked me again, what are you doing here? I said, we're having lunch. And then the third time he asked me, but he got a little bit closer. He said, Mark, you were born here? I said, yes. You know English? I said, yes. You went to school here? I said, yes. You went to the Navy? I said, yes. He said, Mark, he got a little bit closer. And about that time, I could see his amazing hazel eyes. He said, Mark, ¿qué estás haciendo aquí? Ese trabajo para el burro. Mark, what are you doing here? This job is for the donkey. Now, when he said that, something inside me, like you ever, I don't know about you, but anybody, you got told something that just turned your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it happened because it's truth. What was I doing there? Not discounting the scaffold as less of a trade, but I kept myself. Don Oliver said, Mark, what the heck are you doing here? And you know what, Pedro? If I would have never left, I would have never went to go work for OSHA. I would have never written those 2 books. I would have never went and done this. Maybe got on with John Maxwell. Those pages of my story would not have been written. Why? Because an individual saw something in me that I didn't see myself, and he challenged me to do that. So my question to you guys on the call and everybody else, who's your mark? Who's the one individual in your area, in your sphere of influence that you see, but you haven't invested in? See, it's key. You see, but you haven't invested in. See, it's not enough to see the individual. It's not enough to see the potential. You got to invest in that potential. That seed cannot grow until you invest in it, till you plant it, and you put water, boom, then acorn grows into an amazing tree.
Mm-hmm.
He invested in me. And who knows, man? All day
at the new plants. Yeah.
And who would have thought, one day here we are, his story is still alive and well. His story is still alive and well. So again, my challenge to every single one of you on this live broadcast is that who is your mark? Who is in your sphere of influence that you see something, you see them, but you haven't influenced yet, or you haven't invested in yet. Next slide.
And before we move on, Mallory, again, I'm a disabled vet, CB, graphic designer, mother to 6, heavy equipment mechanic, competitive athlete, inventor, and studying to be an engineer. My stories are endless and often tell themselves. I've been asked to write a book more times than I can count. My purpose is great. I'm on a mission to inspire people to see their potential. I connect with people around the world and share my ideas. I am here to learn. I believe I am not here by mistake. Thank you for sharing, and I am listening. We greatly appreciate you, Mallory.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Mallory, if you guys want, we can connect after this. Pedro, you can give my contact information. I would love to help craft that and flush that out.
Oh, yeah.
So go ahead. Next slide.
There we go. Education.
Go to the next one. So education. So one day, again, going from the story of Don Oliver, I continued on my education. I went and was going to school, and when I was unemployed, and I was going through the OSHA website, and there was vacancies, and I was telling myself, what are they going to tell me? They're going to tell me, no, I don't have a job. I don't got nothing to lose, so I got to go put them all in, man. And then I started seeing all these things, and I'm like, oh shoot, I don't got that. I don't got that. I don't got that. I'm like, shoot, I got that. I got that. Hey man, go. Go. I went ahead and put 14 different vacancies, everything from Dallas, Fort Worth, Inglewood, Colorado, all over the place, bro. But guess what, man? When you're looking for an opportunity, all you need is one. You don't need 14. You just need one.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give you a quote: "When opportunity presents itself, it's too late to prepare." So, Mallory, that book is already printed. You just got to write it. When opportunity presents itself, it's too late to prepare. So, again, the guy that only had construction history background, I saw this vacancy, construction specialist, bilingual. I said, I'm bilingual. I'm bilingual, construction, orale. I'm bilingual, construction, bilingual. Okay, I got those two things. I went applied at the Houston North office, the Houston South office first. And then it was over like 200 applicants. Long story short, I got the job, was a compliance officer for like 7 years, transferred to started in the North area office, then transferred to the South area office, became a compliance assistant specialist for 7 years. It was an amazing journey. Something that I can write and say that we did that. I represented, I was the first Hispanic in that position. I was the first I represented Region 6 as a Hispanic coordinator. Had the opportunity to do a lot of great things with a lot of great people. But because I saw an opportunity and I jumped. Go ahead. Next slide.
Yeah. Then Mallory, the last person we often choose to invest in is ourselves.
That's right.
I agree.
That's right. But you have to, Mallory, you're right, brother. Give it up, Shane. Mallory's, I don't know, but where you guys at, man?
Yeah, she has some great stuff. Shane Nolan. Thank you, Shane. She's telling you thank you. And they're on LinkedIn. Those are LinkedIn. Those are tuning in again. We've been going strong for 52 minutes and some great stuff.
So you want to wrap up?
No. We're good.
So again, education, and I did a little different. So safety professionals, you will go the track of a master CSP. I said, you know what? I have the technical skills, 451 H2 I know safety. I know the standards. I don't know leadership. I don't know how to speak well. I don't know how to connect well. I was very influenced by John Maxwell very early in my career. I read a lot of his books. And then in 2011, he opened up the John Maxwell team to be speaker, trainer, coach. So I joined the team. This is John and I in Guatemala. So I became a founding member. It started with 500 people, which is now 30,000 people in over 100 countries. Started with 500. Now we're 30,000 in over 100 countries. We went to Paraguay, trained over 15,000 leaders in 1 week. In Guatemala, over 10,000 in 1 week. I don't say that to impress you. I say that what happens when an individual says, it's not about me, it's about we, and what can I do to help impact a larger group of individuals, because it's all about legacy. See, there's a day you're born, a day you die, and the day you realize why is a day something different happens.
Yep.
There's a little space in between that, isn't there? The day you're born, the day you die, the little space that's the privilege of opportunity, which is called the present.
Mm-hmm.
To make an impact.
It's what I mean. You're born, you live all that life, then you die. That little bit of time that we have, and we say little because again, 60, 70, 80, 90 years, it's a little bit of time.
Yeah.
To leave a legacy, to make a positive impact on somebody's life, on future generations, on other, generations to come, people that are coming up. So
I mean, these are volunteer things that we do. Nobody pays us. We get visas to go to these countries, but it's an amazing. So again, if we go back, these Latinos, the Hispanic heroes, they became and they invested in themselves, Mallory. And then guess what? They were able to give back. You cannot give what you don't have. That's a key principle. You can't give what you don't have. If I have nothing, I can't give nothing. But if I've missed it myself, guess what? I become more valuable. Therefore, I can give more. I can serve better.
Yeah.
Go to the next slide. And so that is our presentation. But one of the things, if I can, Pedro, is just one of in talking with all the Hispanic heroes is, again, Hispanics were over 61 million in the United States. But one of the things that we do not do well is honor each other and support each other. And what do I mean? When I see a Pedro making it, we need to celebrate a Pedro. When I see anybody else, we need to celebrate that. Why? Because when you make it, we make it. And if we get mad because there's nobody in that position, well, we need to celebrate the ones that are in that position. And here's something else. One of the things, and I'm just going to piggyback off something that Mallory mentioned. The one thing I would do different, knowing what I know now, is I would have invested in myself way back then. Again, knowing is if we invest in ourselves early, we can create greater value. Then I can serve better. And when I can serve better, I want to become more. And guess what? I have to serve more. And if I serve more, I have to invest more. It's a constant loop. And so right now, what I will challenge everybody, if you do not have a personal development plan, begin now. Begin now.
Mallory said the key to good leadership is to be the person that you would want to follow.
That's right. Man, Mallory, you need to have Mallory on next time, brother.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking into getting her on. So,
well, again, I appreciate the opportunity, brother. It's been a privilege to talk about Hispanic heroes, their contribution, Hispanic Heritage Month, and again, we need to support each other. We need to celebrate each other. But we need to also lift each other up. And again, one of the things that powerful phrase that Ms. Hughes mentioned, don't hold the salsa. Salsa is who we are. Don't be afraid to put yourself way out there, because if you don't, guess what? You may sell yourself short, and then you be like everybody else saying woulda, coulda, shoulda.
No, and again, I greatly appreciate you taking the time and actually, us going through that and giving everybody a little piece of you, Mark. So let everybody know where they can reach you at. How do they reach you? Where do they, get in contact with you?
Thank you so much. Again, you can reach me on LinkedIn, Mark A. Speaks, or you can email me directly, multiplyleadership@gmail.com. That's multiplyleadership@gmail.com. Website is shortly to come out, probably by the end of this month. So be on the lookout for that.
Nice. And again, greatly appreciate everybody that tuned in. Let's look at Terry Davis, Kristen Maciel, my sister-in-law, for the likes. Luis Zaragoza, Melissa Foster, thank you guys for tuning in, giving us those likes. We like that. Everybody that was involved in the chat, again, we do this and we have this forum for you all to bring you some value, to bring you a little bit of us while you're here, spending your evenings, to give us a little piece of you. So again, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Mallory. Thank you so much for sharing this today. Again, thank you for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. Does not go without notice, and I will be getting you on the show next. Matt Lawrence, again, thanks for the like. Thank you, Shane. Who else do we have? Jesus, thank you very much. Philip Rizzo, gracias, amigo.
Pa'lante.
Yep. Who else? Early on, Trey Williams, Jonathan Kimbrough. Thank you guys. We greatly appreciate it. So, Mark, any last words? Anything you want to give our audience before we go?
Again, I'm just going to rephrase that. Don't hold the salsa. Don't wait for somebody else. You move. You be the initiator, because guess what? If nobody moves, that's a lack of leadership. when you move, that is a sign of leadership.
Yeah. No. And again, I greatly appreciate it, Mark. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and in here. So before we go, I want to make sure you guys at home are listening. Again, this has been powered by NCamp. I'll go ahead and our friends have something to say. So go ahead and take a listen real quick.
NCamp is changing the way EHS professionals stay in compliance. Tired of spreadsheets to manage spreadsheets? That's where NCamp comes in. Their digital compliance solution allows you to manage your entire team's EHS documents, deadlines, permits, and tasks, all from one modern platform with no software knowledge needed. Learn more about how NCamp can save you and your team valuable time and money at ncamp.com/xfactor.
So again, go check those out. So at our hour mark, again, thank you for tuning in, everybody that was here. I greatly appreciate everybody. So remember, ask yourself that one question: what's your X factor? Until next time, we'll see you later.